Yeah, it's super tough, right, when you don't have enough money to pay people. So really you're selling the dream. And so that dream needs to be pretty compelling. I think people, one, need to be drawn to you as an individual and understand that you're going to do right by them, and that you've got someone who's, got strong ideas and ideals, and so that they feel comfortable that, if you guys make it together, then you're going to look after them. I think sometimes that trade-off is, if you don't have enough cash, then give them some equity in the business. I think it's super important. We give everyone a stake in 99 Designs today, and that was one of the great things that the funding allowed us to do, was to set up an employee scheme that allowed us to do that, because I want everyone to have a sense of ownership. And also, like, if we hopefully one day we are successful and create some sort of liquidity event for our investors and stakeholders, everyone who's helped us build the business to where we are today get to participate in that. So, it's paint a compelling vision, have something that people can believe in, be able to passionately communicate that belief, try and lead by example, show that you'll do whatever it takes. And sometimes that's as important as, cooking the guys a meal that are helping you build the business, or taking out the trash, or doing whatever it takes. It's all about, we're all in this together. I'm a big believer in pretty flat environments. One of the things that I do, that we're a bit bigger but still do, is when I'm interviewing candidates, I typically take them into the kitchen and make them a coffee. And so they can kind of see the CEOs making them a coffee, and it kind of sets the tone to, one, how we see and how we operate the business, but two, it can relax them, get them into the flow of the interview process, so that we can then sit down and spend some time to get to know each other. I think, culture's really, really important, and those first hires are critical in developing that. And, in an ideal sense, you're going to have fun and enjoy spending time with these people, because you end up spending more time with them than you do your family, your friends, etc. And so I think that is a really important trait. I know some other people who are able to, I think especially in that founding team and those early hires, that's important. I think, remember to celebrate whatever success you do have wholeheartedly, and that can be shitty pizza and crappy beer, or however you want to celebrate, but you should remember to try and celebrate those early wins, whatever they may be, if it's a release or whatever, because that's helps build team fabric. I think in the early days it's easier. The thing I struggle with now is at over 100 people globally, we are starting to push the limits as how far you can go without really formal HR. I think a lot of it hopefully you've got some capacity to do by gut, which is around just treating people well, but it does get harder. And so the bigger you get, the more people you have, then HR becomes a whole lot more complex. And so I think early on, treating people with decency is kind of as much as you need as far as HR, but that does tap out at a certain point. Yeah. I think as we've gotten bigger, I think we're right now at that real struggle point, because as you get bigger and you've got offices all around the world, communication gets harder. And so perhaps thinking about formalising how you communicate earlier. But when it's just you and, hopefully the people that you really like and admire sitting around one room trying to do stuff, communication's relatively easy. As you get bigger, it gets harder. As soon as you operate from a new office, then stuff can break down relatively quickly, and communication does become a much bigger overhead. And so I think that's the thing that we've struggled with and had to invest a lot in as we've grown internationally. And we're continuing to iterate. Startup life is about failing all the time, and I feel like we're still failing all the time. But you just got to recognize when you have failed and try to make it right. One of the things that happens when you build that in your culture, your staff understand you don't always get it right. And so as long as they understand that fundamentally you're coming from a good place, and that when you recognize that you don't have it right, you're going to try and change, then I think you can get away with a lot, you'll iterate a lot, and you should be able to keep people happy, because that's it's part of startup life. I don't think you can go back and have a crystal ball and go, cool, if I did all this stuff perfectly, it'll be great. I think it is different if you're coming around for the second time, you've got some money in your pocket, maybe someone's prepared to back you just because of the success you had the first time, then you know that you can spend some money with lawyers, you can get the right communication in place from the get-go, you can invest in some of those systems, and it just makes life easier. Yeah.